Yeah, y'all. We're back, baby. Season 2, Prime Parents. Got another exclusive coming in. Yes, indeed. Just waiting for everything to get set up right now. But we have a special guest, the mother of our newly acquired offensive lineman, versatile offensive lineman from South Haven, Mississippi, by way of Indiana University. That is the one and only Big KAHLIL Benson. Benson, 6'6", 310-pounder, coming over with 2 years left, one semester left to finish school. And this big fella right here will be a big time addition to the offensive line. Run them lights up. Let's go. Let me know who's checking in right now before we get going. We're going to do this a little bit different this year, as I'll repurpose it and put it on Facebook, just the interview. But everybody checking in right now, if you don't know, now you know. You're tuned in with the international and nationally known, the BIW, the DOW, Chico to the C, and the place to be. Straight out of 27 SEL, coming to you live and in effect, back like vertebrae. Got something new for you right here, baby. Shouts out to Sadie Reacts up in here. Seize the Day, Joanna Williams, Gino, E for Eddie. Channel Designs, Chanel Designs and Creations. Laniki up in here, Warren Loans up in here. Got the whole crew checking in. All over the world, baby. We appreciate you. Put your cities in there right now. Let me know where you're checking in from, how you checking in. Get your popcorn ready, as Warren said. Cookie Cruncher up in here too. Miss Tamara, Crystal Wise Williams, 09. We live and in effect. Once again, like I said, we have the mother of our newly acquired offensive lineman from Indiana University by way of South Haven. Y'all know about South Haven, Mississippi, right outside of Memphis. Give it up for KAHLIL Benson. Here's his mom checking in right now. We got Miss LaTanya Benson. She's going to join me on the live. Get your questions in. Let me know what you're thinking. How you doing, Miss LaTanya? Thank you for
I'm
joining.
doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to KAHLIL for getting you ready, helping you out right there. Before he has to get on the road and get ready to finalize everything in Bloomington, Indiana, before he heads out to Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah, yeah.
Excited to have you guys. Everybody's excited to have you with much needed addition to the offensive line. Like I said, 6'6", 310-pounder, 12 games last year, and only gave up one sack out of 800 snaps. That's huge for us to protect
Yes.
the possible Heisman Trophy winner. That's Shedeur Sanders. So, let me get that off the screen. Sorry about that. So, let me know. Tell us about, first of all, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your background, where you're from, and all that good stuff. And
Awesome.
how excited it is to be a new Colorado Buffalo.
Hey, we are here for it. We're here for it. I'm so excited. Um, no credit of mine by myself. I have to give God the glory for everything that He has done in our lives and where He's bringing us to and where He's brought us from. But again, I'm Latanya Benson. I'm little old me. I am from Webb, Mississippi, Tallahatchie County, born and raised, and the mom of three with a bonus nephew. He's mine as well. So it's been us all these years. And went to West Tallahatchie High School. It's a Lady Choctaw that's going to be forever basketball player, you know.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. Went to Kahoma Community College from there. And also played basketball at Kahoma. And from there, went to Lemoyne on in Memphis, Tennessee, um, where I also played basketball, volleyball, and through the shot put. So we're not shy to sports,
Right.
and
That's it.
yeah,
Very
yeah, but
background. I was going to ask you about that. A very athletic background. I'm glad
yeah.
you shared that with us. I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep on going. Give us
Oh
some.
no, you're good. You're good. Look, I love to talk now.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I love to talk. I'm trying to make sure this phone set up here. Khalil was getting me ready. We would start having difficulties, but we're gonna make this thing work. The devil's a lie, right?
That's right.
Yeah, he was trying to stop us today.
You could turn it sideways if that'll help.
So
If you let
let's try that then. Let's see if
go.
that'll.
Boom.
Well, now, bam.
That helps you out a
There
little.
we are.
Okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
plays basketball and volleyball. How did you end up in South Haven then? Because that's where Khalil is from, right?
Right. So South Haven is actually from my hometown is about an hour and 20 minutes. So once I came to Memphis in '96, I just didn't go back. So of course Lemoyne is in Memphis, and we stayed over in Memphis for a long time. And then after Khalil was probably about 5, I moved back over across the state line into Mississippi. I knew that it would be maybe a more of a quality of education that he will receive here in South Haven, and then I wanted to get away from some of the crime that was there, and I didn't want to raise him amongst that, and I didn't want to go back to Webb because there wasn't really much to do. Although my parents insisted that we move back, so when Khalil was coming along, 2 years old, there was a lot of babies dying, being left in daycare vans in Memphis. And so I was working, and my parents said, "Hey, you're not putting him in a daycare. You're gonna bring him to us." So that was the hardest thing to do, was to take him and let him live with my parents, but I had to work, and I've been working since I was about 15, started chopping cotton because I wanted my own, and I told my mom, like, my dad, y'all not going to have to take care of me anymore, take care of my siblings, and I wanted my own. But anyway, because of those things that were happening in Memphis, we did decide to let Khalil, from his Head Start years up until he was about 5 or 6. He stayed with my parents. So on weekends and holidays, I would take extended days. So we would meet in Tunica, which was like a halfway point, and I would have him 3, 4 days of the week, and then we'll meet again. My parents would get him, and so it's not like he was not with me, but he just wasn't with me every day. But I am grateful to my parents and that upbringing that based on biblical principles, and making sure that he had that country living.
Mhm.
So there's a lot would help to ground Khalil and round him out to be the young man that he is today. So I'm eternally grateful to my parents for that help.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
The South,
hmm
what's considered the Bible Belt, right? Is that
belt.
correct?
That's
The
right.
Bible Belt, right? I said it right. That's right.
hmm
It's very serious down south, down there in near that way. So let me see if I can share this picture right quick. You see this picture?
Okay. Oh!
Tell me your thoughts about that picture right there.
So, of course, he had just got the bath, and yes, he was spoiled, and he kind of somewhat still is. That's my baby, but
He gonna grab me. He gonna grab me
he
for
gonna
sure.
get you. Yes, but that picture, he had just gotten out the tub or whatever, and just being Khalil, he was gonna get that cry in. And it's partially my fault. So I
Right.
have to tell you, I was the one that just wanted to travel, and my mom was the oldest of 14. My grandfather was married before he married my grandmother. She had 14. So I can remember, yes, yes. I can remember all of them at some point in time visiting or staying with us at my family, my mom and my dad's home. Okay. They never met strangers. I don't care who it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that time, I'm like, okay, this is enough children and people for me. I'm just going to travel,
Right.
So, but life happens, and Khalil came along, and I just couldn't believe it. And I think I probably cried every day, not because I didn't want him, but it was just a shock. But even in the process of carrying him those 9 months, I knew that Khalil was special. Out of when we buried my grandfather, it was so many years ago. Um, they had counted 240-ish grands, great grands, and 150, 60 grandchildren.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's Southern living right there. My grandmother
I'm
had
trying to
11.
tell you.
My grandmother had 11, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Huge family.
Yes. Out of all of those grands, great grands, great great grands, Khalil is the only one that was born on my grandfather's birthday. So you hear us saying Buddy, that's where Buddy comes from. They called my grandfather Buddy. So we call Khalil Buddy, and they share that same birthday. So even with that, just knowing like, God has some things in store for Khalil, and to even go back to with him living with my mom and dad for a while. And one day after we had met, they were headed back to way up Mississippi, and Khalil asked my mom to pull over.
Hmm.
And she said, "Pull over, buddy, for what?" He said, "Well, Mama, I want to dance." Initially, she thought he had to use the bathroom. So she said, "Hey, just hold on. We're almost at home, and you can use the restroom there." And he was like, "No, Mama, I want to dance." She said, "Dance, Khalil." And he was adamant that she pulled over. So my mom pulled over on the side of the highway. She said, "Now, Khalil, dance." He said, "Mom, I want to dance for Jesus." Mm. And my baby got out. He was like 3 or 4 years old. He got out the truck and he got on the side of that road and got his hallelujah on, got his praise on, and got right back in the truck after he was done. My mom calling me like, she called me Pumpkin. Pumpkin, let me tell you what just happened. And again, just a testament that I knew Khalil would walk different, you know, that he
Yes.
would walk different, and I continue to try to pour into him all of that my mom and my dad started with him, and he's always been in the church, and of course I have too, but he without sin, throw the first stone, right? We
So
all sin. So
let's
and I tell him now, like, live. I want him to live. I want him to enjoy life. I want him to enjoy these college years, because when they gone, they gone. And, I don't want him to have any regrets.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Well, I have a few more to share with you right here. I can do this a little bit different. I usually just ask questions and but I wanted to share some of these pictures and get some of these
Awesome.
reactions because y'all had some very nice pictures on here, and I think they tell a story also.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
with him coming up, at least let's talk about youth football and going those ways. And like you said,
Yes.
you had that feeling of him being special. He comes up playing sports. Was he always a bigger kid than everybody else?
Now, Chico. Yes. We were here in South Haven. He was about 6 years old, and we were driving by this field. So they do a lot of those, the youth sports or whatever. And I pointed over there and I said, "Hey, buddy, you see those kids?" And he was like, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "They playing football." I said, "You want to play?" And he looked at me and almost was like, "Hmm." But then he was like, "Yes, ma'am." I whipped it around and went right on over there. And I said, "Hey," and I told him to get out the truck. And they looked. I said, "My 6-year-old wants to play." He said, "There's no way he's six." You know. And I said,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's six, and he has had a love for the game ever since then."
Wow.
Ever since we never miss a game. I've never missed a game that he's played his whole entire life. Never. I didn't hook or crook. I was gonna get there. You know.
That's real.
Yeah, yeah. So he
I'm gonna,
loved it.
I'm gonna share this picture right here then.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This is one right here. You can have that excitement on his face. This looks like what is this? High school right here?
That is high school. We had just defeated one of our rivalry teams, and actually that same night, he had to do an interview with 247 Sports.
Oh,
So
nice.
it was just, I mean, he was like, "Mama, we gotta win tonight." because I can't do an interview on a goose egg. We not, we hadn't won anything, so he got out there and he did. He played his butt off, and they called right after he was dressed, and it was an awesome interview. Awesome. So, man, you bringing back some memories, guy.
Okay, well, I definitely have one for you right here because I remember this when my mom. I think this is what it is, but I remember this moment right here when my mom taught me. So I think that's what this is right
Look,
here.
that was the first time I let him drove on the highway. So Khalil has been driving since he was 7.
Oh, okay, okay. So he kind of like me, being a bigger, younger kid, and
Yes.
I was like, "Boy, you can drive. You're only 12. You look like you're 16." And,
My dad started him
yeah,
at
and
7.
South too, so you could probably make it to the store without anybody seeing you. Go right into the store, get me what I need, and come on
You
back.
know it. That's right. That's how we did it in the country.
You better.
That was it. Look, don't you get on the highway. You go on the side road and you
Uh,
park and you go in, So, yeah, yeah. That was his first time on the main highway driving. And I've been sitting on the other side ever since.
right. I remember the advice my mom gave me was, if you let the wheel go, you'll see the car would drive itself. So you just got to make sure you don't hit anybody. You don't mess it up.
Absolutely.
Always drive. So I'm like, okay, makes sense. All right.
Good advice, Mom.
Let me see. Here's a.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
right.
Yeah, so that was, I think we had went down to Mississippi State, and they were playing like an exhibition game before the season, and we were there, and to be honest, he's always wanted to play Mississippi State as a little boy, and so we were there and claimed our seats. This is what I'm gonna be at during the season. Me and his godmom was there, and they played very well, and I think they did win that game. Can't
Mm,
remember who they played, but I think the smile will let you know that they did win.
right.
So every moment I can, I'm snapping pictures or having someone to snap a picture. And uh, he's always like, "Mama, another picture." I'm like, "Yep,
Yeah. For these reasons right here, when you do this interview with Big Dog
absolutely,
years later, I can pull them up. So
absolutely,
talk about the recruiting process, because you're right there in Mississippi, a big
yeah,
SEC country. You got Mississippi State, you got Ole Miss, probably closer to Oxford, closer to you guys, right? So
yeah."
Memphis is right there too. Talk about the recruiting process and some of the schools that he was considering coming out.
Oh wow, Khalil had over 25 offers coming out. Initially, he was junior year and kind of moving slowly, golly, he was that kid that was humble, okay? And Khalil was getting offers I didn't even know about him.
Mm,
And his coach would call and say, "Mom, did Khalil tell you?" I'm like, "No." And when he would get home, I'm like, "Khalil, so you got an offer?" "Yes, ma'am."
man,
Khalil, I'm ready to turn a somersault or at least act like I'm turning one, and he's just like, "Yes, ma'am, I did." I'm like, "Do you know how big that is?"
right.
He said, "Well, and he was just steady going. But um, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Louisiana Monroe, Memphis, Kentucky, um, and I said I wasn't gonna forget them. It was just so many, and I know that the overwhelming feeling. I was there for it because I'm like, oh wow, I understood the significance of it. I don't think it had hit Khalil yet.
Mhm.
How big and major this was for him. It was him and another player that year that came out of high school that went to Power 5 schools, just the two. And so it was really, really major. And once I had to sit down with him and say, "Hey, this is what's happening. Your school will be paid for. Your everything will be paid for because of the work you put in and because you stayed consistent, and you didn't give up." And so once it hit him, then
Yeah.
Big Country was ready. Big Country was ready at that point.
Yeah, once I realized that Mama wasn't gonna have to pay for school, and she
Yeah.
couldn't pay for school, she's telling you, "Hey, you better. This is your way." I was like, "Oh, okay, no problem. If that's what I have
Yes.
to do, that's what I'm gonna go do." And I used to run to the mailbox and look for those letters. I remember finding a bunch of letters in my coach's drawer, and I couldn't believe he didn't show them to us. So there's a bunch of ways that guys can get looked over. It's not just from,
Mhm.
it can happen a bunch of different ways. So I'm glad he was able to get his in and get the recruiting going. So how did Indiana come into the picture? Because we don't
So
see that a lot. Was that more academic wise, or what? How did they come into the
it
picture?
was it was for his football. Even though Khalil did succeed academically, he did well. Um, we were committed. Look, we were committed to Ole Miss for 6 months coming out of high school. So he committed in his senior year, where they fired Coach Luke and brought in Lane Kiffin. And when
Yeah,
they brought in Lane, they didn't honor his scholarship
yeah,
offer,
yep.
which I know is typical. And me being a firm believer of, again, there are no coincidences in life. These things happen. They line up the way they're supposed to. Khalil was torn. He was torn. I mean, devastated, because he was like, "Mama, what I'm gonna do?" Well, Khalil, you still have a lot of offers on the table. You're still sitting high on a lot of the boards, and so what we're gonna do is, let's go back through and see. Let's relook at it. We're gonna see where we need to be. What do you feel is a good fit? Well, Mississippi State was still like knocking the door down, and several others, and I was like, well, okay, let's take the trip. Khalil had gotten chosen to play on the United States. Let me get it right. It was like a all-star team or something in Dallas. That game right there.
Here you go.
So after we come back from there, wow, Indiana called. I mean, like, we got off the plane and they were calling. Seemed like as soon as we stepped off the plane, he was like, "Look." At the time, it was Coach Hiller was the offensive line coach. He
Yeah,
said, "I just want to come in and put my eyes on him." He said, "We hear, these kids send us tapes or whatever." He said, "But we've been watching Khalil for a while, and we really just want to put some eyes on him, just really see his size. Is he really the size that he looks on the, on the tapes and things of that nature?" So they flew in. Well, Coach flew in, and his mouth was just wide open,
wow.
because at that time, senior Khalil Head was the top of the door post, and he was like, "This cannot be real," and Khalil was then like 340, 345.
Yeah.
So they're watching him move. Khalil has always had quick feet. He's always been able to run, and that probably came from me. But, I would run with the guards in high school, in college. I would keep up with him. So, but he's
Let me
always, so they
know,
just couldn't.
not to cut you off. Let them know what position you played in high school, and then you also say you threw the shot put, so you had to be super strong.
Mhm.
So, what position did you play in high school? And give us what's your height, if you don't mind.
I'm 6 feet tall. I'm 6 feet. I played power forward, small center in high school. I didn't start playing until my junior year of high school, because they were running cross country, and coach would come and ask me every year, "Hey, B, you gonna play for me?" I said, "Coach, you run across country?" He was like, "Yeah." I said, "Nope." He would ask, he asked me my sophomore year, Coach Eddie Cully, and he said, "B, come on now, we." I said, "Coach, are you requiring the team to run cross country?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "No." The junior year rolled around. He stopped me in the hallway. He said, "Hey," I said, "before you even ask,
Uh-huh.
cross country?" He said, "No." I said, "I'm there."
I like that.
Yeah, and I went in and put in work, and um, it paid off as well. So I'm happy about it. Yeah. Then in college, I also played the same, um, small forward or power forward, small center,
Mhm.
and volleyball. I did that, and then as well, like you said, the shot put. So we were in there.
So there you
We
go.
were in there.
Definitely got that. A lot of that from you. And then you said that size, he was at the top of the
Yes,
door frame. And Indiana coaches come there. They fly in and they see
yes.
you. And what happens?
After that, they's like, "Hey, can you guys just can we fly you into Indiana?" And Khalil's like, "Well, Mama, what do we have to lose?" And I'm like, "Nothing. Let's go." Um, they come in, we go, and I'm trying to see, did they come? Yep, we went the same. They was just in awe, and it was more so knowing that Khalil, they was like, he can play. He said, but his mannerism. They said his mannerism. And I got that from a lot of the coaches. Even with Ole Miss, when they came in and they were looking for him one day, they went to South Haven High and they was walking the halls and they was like, well, he should be in class, but where is he? So now they like, he's not in class.
Mm,
Well, guess where they found Khalil on the front row? He was sitting at Bible study. They do the Christian the athletes fellowship athlete. He was at Bible study at that time, and the coach called me and he was like, you know what? If he couldn't play, he still had a scholarship with me just because he's sitting here. He was
right.
like, he's the tallest one on the front row. So Indiana kind of they felt that as well.
Right.
When they met him and they was like, he's just he's an all around kid, and there was no sugarcoating because I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Right.
Khalil knows Mama. You may be 6'6", 6'6.5", whatever, but if I needed to, we would go there. But I've never had any issues. Never had to, thank the Lord, go and say, hey, that's my son. Let me bail him out. None of that. He
Right.
was always doing what he needed to do. So when Indiana saw it, and once we were there and we come back home, Indiana came back maybe a week after the entire coaching squad, the entire coaching squad. And they was like, look, we just want you to know this is how much,
Yeah.
we really want Khalil with us. And they held up to it. Coach Allen, oh man, he's an all around guy. And he's what we saw on TV. If anyone watched Big Ten and saw Coach Allen, jumping and loving on those guys, that's exactly who he was.
Yeah. Well, look like
So
you guys also enjoyed the games there in Bloomington, Indiana. Um,
yeah.
Atmosphere there as far as football wise in Indiana.
Um, it was good. It was good. I can't lie. It's not your HBCU. Where we gonna turn up. But it was good. It
Yeah.
was good. At least we made sure that he heard us from the stands.
Exactly.
If nothing else, we were cheering the entire team on. So, um, pretty cool.
Definitely a little bit different up there, coming from the South and things of that nature, especially from SEC country and HBCU land.
Yes.
So a little bit different, but he went up there, had a great career, uh,
Hmm.
did his schoolwork. As you said earlier, we was talking, he's like a semester left
Yes.
to graduate in the classroom, and he probably would have done that, but he wanted to come to Colorado and get there early, you know,
Yes.
for the early enrollment, so he can go ahead and go through this winter workouts and spring ball and get ahead of the curve with anybody who's coming in the summertime. That's very important for these guys to do that. Um, how is it? Let's talk about the recruiting process with Colorado now. So he has a great career, decides to enter the transfer portal, and bam, what happens?
Man, so a little bit. I just recently moved to Indiana, okay, in June.
Okay, so you were there
Um,
in June this past year.
okay. So, but I knew going in. He and I talked about it. He said, "Well, Mom, right now I don't know if I want to stay." He said, "I'm definitely going to finish out the season." He said, "And it just kind of depends on how things are going." He said, "But I'm feeling like there's something missing, and I know that there's more that I can get, you know." And so we discussed it, and but I also knew that me being where he was at that time was important. Then it was a reset for me, and I had to tell some of my peers or whatever, oh, God, you're going to move.
Yeah.
Let Khalil, well, let me parent my child,
There you go. That's
you
what I
know. Let me do what's best for us. If it means that you can send yours across the world and they're okay and you don't have to talk to them, that doesn't work for us. We're a close knit family.
right.
Family that prays together, they stay together. And so that's what we do. And that they weren't there when those calls at night and we're on FaceTime until he falls asleep, or him missing, like I said, my mom passed in 21, and they weren't there to hear those tears and cries. I was, getting on the road and hitting them 6.5 hours from South Haven to Bloomington, Indiana, without a blink of an eye. I'm gone because that's mine,
Right.
and I know how important it is. I work with children, been doing this all my life, and to
Mhm.
witness those kids just yearn for their parent, their mom, to love on them, to just even say job well done. So guess what? Mine's not gonna have to wonder.
Yeah.
Not that one, that 21-year-old of mine, the 14, nor the 212s. They're not gonna have to wonder. So when their time starts and they're into sports and they're doing, God's willing, I'm gonna be right there too, Chico. So
Right.
that part, okay.
Yeah. For sure.
But with this Colorado, he had said, Mom, I want I would love, to kind of see what that's about. And I said, well, hey, got your TV here. We'll make it happen if we need to go, And he said, I do want to know what it's about. And he said, well, I'm thinking I'm gonna get in the portal. I said, well, did you pray about it? That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
We can make all the decisions we want to make.
Right.
Did you consult the man about it? And he kind of had made me angry a little bit, Chico. I'm gonna just tell you, because I felt like he was being standoffish a little bit. We were 10 minutes away from each other. No, I didn't see him every day. And if you know what I cooked, he probably showed up. But you know, um, and it was until lately before he committed, and he said, "Mom," he said, "I know you think that I've been not coming around or whatever." And I said, well, it did kind of feel funny, not to see you some days or not to hear from you. And he says, well, Mama, he said, a lot of days I would get in my truck. He said, I would just ride because I was wanting to just hear from God. I wanted to block everything out so I could make sure that I was making the right decisions,
Mm.
and then God hurry up and pull me back into my place. Yes,
Right.
he did, and said, "Hey, um, I got this." God said, "I got this, Tanya. What you thinking?" And I said, "I know you do,
Yeah.
but that mom and me, you always want to make sure your kids or your children are okay." So,
That's
but he told me that, and once he told me that, I was done. I knew that whatever decision he made, because he had consulted God first, because
mm,
that's what the word tells us to do, right?
mm,
Once you talk to God, you consult man no more. So he didn't have to hear what I needed to say.
right.
You know, he heard what he said, and he did. And I tell you, I just, Khalil looks like a totally different person to me. His walk, his skin is glowing, Chico. He just, when we came back, the chaplain that was at IU, we were really close, and we stopped by there, and he said, Khalil, what's going on? And Khalil said, what do you mean? He said, you're glowing. He
Yeah.
said, what did you do?
Yeah.
He told him, he said, I committed. I committed to Colorado. He was like, good for you. He said, I can see that it just was a relief. It was a relief. So I am excited for what's to come with Colorado. I'm excited for the coaches. I'm excited for their team. Um, just the family atmosphere that
Mhm.
is there. That's what, I just kind of kept quiet during this process because I too wanted to feel, and I knew that my reactions or non-reaction would sway Khalil one way or the other. So I wanted to be still so I could also hear. And I wanted him to be comfortable going into this. And man, when I tell you, I'm here for the ride. I am here for it. I'm excited for Khalil and his teammates, for coaches, for everyone involved with this Colorado Buffaloes, honey. We rolling, we riding, and
Mr. Rolling.
we in here. Yes,
So you've been feeling the love probably from all over on social media and everything. Probably family members hitting you up excited.
yes.
How has that been?
It's good. I told you I don't meet strangers either. I am Odessa Benson's daughter. Okay, I can talk to whomever. And I know I did a post back here and I was like, these haters, I heard they've been talking, but I didn't do it because I was feeling some kind of way. I wanted them to know that we appreciate the
Mhm.
talk. The more they talk, the more negative they put into the atmosphere, the more that he's going to loose from heaven on down onto us. So I'm okay with it. You
Yes.
hear me? Let them know that, yeah, I'm still praying for you, baby, because I get it. I understand. We all not there yet, but
Hey,
I wouldn't condemn them.
right. Like Steve Harvey said, he's still working on us. He's still
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So it has been major love, and I appreciate it. I'm telling you, initially it was like, okay, hold on, because I'm the one that gives and gives and gives. So sometimes it's hard to receive when you're the one that's always giving. But
Mhm.
however, I heard someone told me from back at an old job in Memphis said, "What do you mean it's your time? It's your time. You've been pouring life into these children for years. Now allow someone to pour something into you, and it's time for you to receive, what God has for you." And I just said, God, here I am. I told him, send me, I'll go. So
Right.
whatever platform it is, I've talked to a lot of people in my life, Chico.
Hmm.
And from celebrities to the second gentleman,
Yeah.
being the face of, I worked at Job Corps 20 years, and being able to go out and just meet people and to go and sit with the mayors and let them know this is what these young people need in the city. What are we going to do? I'm not shy to people.
Hmm.
And I'm not shy to talking, and I'm not shy to making sure we get what needs to be done for these babies. Because guess what? I believe Whitney Houston when she said they were when she said, I believe the children are the future.
Yep.
Teach them well
Let
and let them lead the way. We have to,
them believe it.
you know, we have to. And that was my prayer for Khalil, even with him leaving, going to Indiana. My prayer was that God had some godly men in that place that was going to continue to help develop Khalil, help
Yeah.
develop his character so that he would be a man. He would
Right.
be a godly man, just not a man, but a godly man, and that he would make decisions and do things that was going to set him up for his future. And God did. He placed on some of those people there in Indiana. And as even going into Colorado, I followed Prime for a long time. I
Mhm.
remember when Prime was baseball and footballing and doing it all at the same time. I'm like, wow. And then to sit and talk with him,
Yeah.
and because you read things, okay? I'm here to tell all of our listeners and people watching today, don't always believe what we read. Until we can walk into these rooms, until we see for ourselves, who are we to judge and condemn and try to point fingers at anybody? We're not him. We're not him, so we have to make sure that I'm firm believing in the tongue, and what you say is powerful. We have to make sure that what we're speaking, that we're not pouring it back into our own selves, that negative. So yes, once meeting him personally and just walking in, and he's just this down to earth guy, put his pants on just like you and I, one leg at a time. Has he been higher than us? Maybe so. In this celebrity world, in this athletic world, yeah, he has. But however, I bet you if I pinch him, he'll say, "Ouch."
Right.
You know. So, just having that conversation with him, letting him know who Khalil is. His father is not in his life or what have you, and that's okay
Hmm.
because what God did with that also was set again. Khalil was a junior deacon at church. Okay,
Yeah.
he sung in the choir. He praying over thousands. Okay, but God also put some people in his life. After my father passed, and I had my brother there and some uncles, and our youth minister that continued to help mold Khalil as well. And then to get to Memphis, to South Haven, our church was in Memphis, and he had a gentleman there, Reggie Starks, that just didn't want anything. But he heard a word from God that said, this young man right here to pour into him. And he's been doing that, for a long time since he's been over there in Memphis. So Khalil has been covered and he has, those people. So it's important that, and I tell you, I got more grandkids and children than a little bit just from the job that I do, because I made sure that my prayer was, when my children leave me in the mornings and they get on the school bus, when they walk into that school and into them classrooms, that somebody is pouring life into them the way that I pour life into these other youth that I deal with every day. So God is showing me his hand and showing me that he heard me
Yeah.
because of people like you all, like you, Chico, and all the positiveness that's coming from his interviews and the welcoming him to see you, it's showing.
Yeah.
It's showing. And so we're grateful.
Most definitely. We're grateful
We're
to
grateful.
have you in. You mentioned your job and what you did. I think this is a picture from there. Is that right?
Hey, you got me now.
I know you fly on there and all, but is this a work picture or did I put out the
That's
wrong
a
one? Did I get
that's
the,
a work picture. That was at Job Corps.
yeah. Tell, tell me about the job.
Job Corps, 20 years. Khalil was about one when I started. So
Okay.
Khalil was also like a Job Corps baby. They know him, and Job Corps was a ministry for me. I heard I was started off in the dormitory as a residential advisor. And again, mind you, I told you about all them kids my granddad had. And so it was, again, not meeting strangers. I don't. And so just seeing those individuals come in and needing someone. And I remember at one point I left, I called my mama because I wasn't used to it. Because we do yes ma'am and no ma'am. And then they was coming in talking about now and cussing their mamas and people out on the phone. I had to readjust, like, hold on a minute. You know,
Uh-uh.
what is my purpose? And so I asked God, and he gave it to me. So I continued to pour. I went from being a residential advisor to being a leadership coordinator. So I was training these young people on public speaking and training them on being leadership and letting them know everything that you need is already in you. You just got to be okay with pulling it out and using it. And don't be afraid. And so Job Corps, man, we the ups and downs. I tell you, but I knew that it was time to go. I didn't never think that I would leave. I
Mhm.
didn't. But again, that tongue is powerful. You be careful what you ask for, you
Right.
know. And
That,
I was sitting there those last 3 years, and it just seemed like things got heavy. And
mhm.
I'm like, why am I feeling like this? I'm crying every day. What? People feel like they don't like me anymore. And I'm like, what is happening? And
Yeah.
I sit in my desk, and God told me, he said, you asked me for something, but yet you haven't moved.
Mm.
And I said, well, hold on a minute. And I still didn't move, so it was getting harder and harder, hotter and hotter. And he said, oh, you're not going to move? Okay, yes, I am. I'm sitting at the computer. And I go ahead and put this resume back out there, right? Put it out there. Oh, Chico, ding, 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 ding. It was
Wow.
time for me to move. I went to Indiana. I was like, I'm gonna look for a house. I had wrote down this list. I had a house and didn't have a job. That's how God works.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had a house, didn't have a job. I told the guy, I said, hey, I just want to rent. I said, I don't have a job yet. He said, oh, you'll be okay. Do the application. I said, did you hear me say I didn't have a job? He said, you'll be okay. Do the application. Got
Wow.
the house. Still didn't have the job. I said, I'm not working with children anymore. I'm tired of it. I ain't doing it. However, he said, oh, yes, you are. Put in for it. Went to the Boys and Girls Club. They said, okay, we got a academic success program director. And I said, oh, man, I don't know if I want to do this. Well, my third day, I was promoted to the director. So I'm over the one of the Boys and Girls Club in Bloomington, Indiana. My third day. So that tells me Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's how he do it. And we
Unbelievable.
just yeah, we've been at it ever since. My life is not perfect, people.
Right.
My life is not. Love you too, baby. Look, it's not perfect at all. Okay, but however, I know how and I know who. Okay, I know who. I
Yeah.
know who we are and I know who we belong to. And those are the things that matter. Even if if God said, well, okay, you play Colorado and that's it, we're still happy.
Uh
We
huh.
still gonna praise. We still gonna, do what we do. But
Yeah.
however, I know that God has something bigger for
Definitely.
Khalil.
Definitely does. I think so too. He already has a high grade as far as scouts go and projected to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Coach Prime made it his priority, as he said in one of the interviews I was able to do with him, that he's looking for grown men on that offensive line, guys who have played, who are former starters,
Yeah.
and great young men. And what you've explained here is exactly what it's like a match made in heaven for a type of player that Coach Prime is looking for, and then the type
Yeah.
of coach in person that he is. I know Coach Prime going to love him, already loving him, and he explained the situation that happened with Shadur and them out at the when they went out to eat and stuff. And I think
Yeah.
that's what you look for as far as any former football player or whatever. They know that that's how it's supposed to go. Not saying that you're going to be put yourself in harm's way, but it's a natural thing for offensive linemen to protect their quarterback, to help them up when they see them on the ground, to just that camaraderie, that chemistry there. I think that's what Khalil is possessing, and the guys that he's
Yes.
in with, that's what he's possessing. I think it's going to be a great fit in Colorado for Khalil and the rest of those guys that came in. So
I think so too. I know it. I
yes,
know it will be. I
talk about
know it.
your what coach really led the recruiting process at Colorado for you guys.
Um, I kind of, to be honest, I stayed in the background.
Okay.
Um, because I wanted Khalil to, especially knowing that this is his last collegiate go.
Yeah.
As far as it. So I stayed in the background because I wanted him to be feel assured of his own voice.
Hmm.
Um, we got a visit, and I know I'm gonna mess some names up. So the offensive coordinator came in,
Coach.
and the running backs coach, I think it was, yeah, they came in and visited one day, and even with them being there, I just was like, okay, yeah, okay, and they just it's big for me when I bring people in my house, of coach or not. I don't care who it is. I allowed you to cross that threshold. You
Right.
know, you put your feet under my table. That means something.
Right.
Because if I wasn't feeling it, trust me, they wouldn't have been there. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
But them, and then it just kind of took off after he got in the portal and he was able to kind of talk to a little bit of everybody. And it just kind of made a difference. I think he was already sold, just from watching, and he went back, he was watching film,
Yeah.
Colorado film, and he was like, ain't no way this young man getting stabbed like this, mama. Ain't He was like, he said, nah, mama, nothing against nobody. And I
Yeah.
said, but I get it. The athlete in him was like, this should not be happening.
Right.
And he was like, mama, I can make a difference there. And once we got to Boulder that Friday, and we kind of set it out once we went out to eat. I love to dance. I love to have fun, laugh. We can check, we can jump, we can do all of that.
Yes.
So I'm kind of seeing him. They got the music playing, so it's just kind of level. And I'm just kind of looking around. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to get something going. DJ playing, and they played. I think set it off, and I saw Khalil start. He's a Q, right? Omega man.
Yes.
And I was like, baby, go ahead and step a little bit. He was like, no, mama. I said, go ahead and enjoy yourself. And once he got started, the party went up from there, and so we just I danced with him all night. My feet was hurting, I ain't gonna lie.
Uh-huh.
We danced all night, and then some of the other parents started to get in and they started to dance and, just kind of loosen. And Khalil really felt at home. He
Yeah.
felt like he could be himself, and that's what I was looking for. And when I saw his smile and
Yes.
his eyes were twinkling, I was like, okay. I was
And
like, okay.
and Coach Prime said he wanted to bring in some dogs, and he brought in one literally, as you said, a
Hey,
Milk Man, Q Dog,
yeah.
still pledged at Indiana. So, and then
Hmm.
Josh Johns, recruiter and on the coaching staff for Colorado, he's an Omega. I think there's a few other Omegas on
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So that made it maybe a even smoother transition, a little bit more comfortable for him to be able to have his frat brothers and understanding that lingo along with.
Yes.
Yep.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I'm seeing that DT2, and he was like, Mama, hmm, no. DT2. And I was like, DT2, him and my nephew that came up with us, who he's doing his own thing too. And they kind of intertwined. And both of them, he was like, TT DT2. And I'm like, DT. And so once I realized what it was, don't touch two. Hey, that's it, baby. Don't. He was like, no, this ain't happening. We got to make sure none of that happens this season. So I'm like, oh yeah, we finna really see. Oh, I can't wait to the season.
That's the attitude that an offensive lineman is supposed to have.
Yes.
We want to hear from the get go. Jordan Seaton, we saw coming in the 5-star. He said, "Hey, that won't happen again." Then you got Big
Yeah.
Khalil saying the same thing with the same attitude, and the other guys that was there with him. You got Big Tyler Johnson, Yakiri Walker,
Yes.
in, Big Mayors from UTEP coming in.
Yes.
Some ballers coming in on that line. I like that DT2. That doesn't stand for
Yes.
tackle number 2. That stands for don't touch number 2.
Don't touch two.
I'm
That's
sure,
it, baby.
I'm sure Coach Prime can appreciate that, dog.
Look, I'm just ready for him to show the world, man, and let Shador do what he do, and those guys absolutely gonna shine. I can't wait to see them, get together. And I think someone asked Khalil in another interview, like, how you guys gonna gel? And Khalil loves to cook. He barbecues. He does. He's all about the team. And
Yeah,
so, he got some other things going. He had a whole Bible study going in Indiana, and he wants to make sure, because if we got that foundation laid and everybody on the same page, and as long as they're one, you don't have to believe, but we got to believe in this mission of DT2. We got to make sure that happens, and that Colorado, that whole team is ready to transform and
hmm
do what they need to do. So
I
we're
love,
excited about it.
I love it. I doubt if he'll be the most sacked quarterback in college football next year. Like
That's
I said
right.
earlier, guys, if y'all missed out, you got Khalil Benson, 6'6", 310 pounds, Indiana University transfer, played 12 games last year, started, and only gave up 1 sack and over 800 snaps. We'll take that all day and
Yeah,
twice on Saturday.
that's right.
At any time in Colorado.
That's
Uh,
right.
I got a couple of other pictures I wanted to share because I was on Twitter. Of course, I looked at his page. And before we go any further, I wanted to share this too. Y'all go follow Miss Tanya Benson on Twitter right now. Y'all can check her out, KTO Mom. KTO Mom, go follow her on Twitter. Your thing might be going up right now, Mom, because
Let's go, baby.
we got a lot of people in here right now. But I was
Let's go.
checked out. I don't know. Should I say this now or should I? Let's go here first before I go there.
Okay.
You mentioned your kids,
Oh,
and can you explain who's all in the picture right here?
so the one in the yellow shirt, that's my baby girl. Um, that is Odessi. The young man with the next level genius, that's my nephew slash son. Okay, so he's been with me since he's 5. He's 12 now. My oldest daughter now, she's 14. We are making silly faces. That's Taraji, and that's Khalil's. I thought I was his biggest cheerleader. No, she already told me she's playing football this year. I'm like, hold on, you're taking me too fast, baby. You take- you know, she
I like
she's
it.
a rider for real. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And
Hmm.
then I was looking at his Twitter page, and
Okay.
this was it last night, night before last, whatever. But I was like, man, I see a picture he posted Brown Chapel Church, and then I see a picture he's posting at Edmund Pettus Bridge. And
Yes.
how do you guys ask? How do I know what these monuments are real? I grew up right here, literally. If you could pan to the right a little bit of this picture, if you're looking at the church, right on the right side of the church, if you're standing in front of the church, speak to the left. I had my first wrestling match right there. my, my a friend of mine, Mardrellis Starworth, shout out to him. He put me in a headlock right here. This is the church also where a lot of civil rights movement meetings and SNCC meetings went on right here. Dr. King, you can see the monument right there in front. But this is literally where I grew up at. My grandmother's house is right in the back. They used to have all type of civil rights meetings there at her house. She used to cook for them. She was very known in the civil rights movement. My mom is the co-author of the book Selma Lord Selma, which became a Disney movie called Selma Lord Selma. So I was like, man, this is like you said, things are lining up, and it's crazy how small the world is. And
Yes, it is.
still taking a trip to Selma, Alabama. Can you give some insight on that? I think that was at Indiana.
Yeah, it was. Khalil was chosen out of one of the athletes out of the Big Ten. So to go and to visit there and oh my, what an experience it was. Being from the Delta, Emmett Till, we found out like he's a cousin to us. And so knowing that Emmett Till story, and we are like miles up the road from where he was um wow, killed at. And then for Khalil to be able to go there and experience it. And he called me, Chico, from there. And he was just sobbing. He was crazy, said, Mama, while we were on the bridge, he said, I had to stop. He said, I asked the other three or four Big Ten athletes that was with them, said, do y'all hear that? And they was like, huh? And he said, do you hear? He said, Mama, I could hear them singing
You can hear it.
from the woods. He said, I could hear it. Oh my, I mean, just, oh, I got chills now, even thinking about it.
Me
You know,
too.
and he was able to go into the library of the museum, and he was like, Mom, they had like the soil
Yeah.
samples or whatever. He was like, Mama, Tallahatchie County is
Yep.
right here. I'm looking at it. This is, oh, he was sobbing, and it was such an experience, and I'm so glad that he was able and that they chose him. You
Yes.
know, of all those athletes, they chose my baby. You
Yep.
know, and I told him that's a testament again to who he is and his footprints and what he's leaving. You know what he's been doing, but for him to be able to literally feel that, you know, and he was like, "Mom, I could just." He said, "I want to go back." He said, "I want to take my sisters and my little brother and you know, and we had just gone to Birmingham into for spring break or something. I took the other ones, and we were trying to get to Selma, but it stormed so bad. And I had told Khalil, I was like, I really want you to go. And then here it comes. He's like, Mama, guess what? I've been chosen to go again. God. I'm
Yes.
telling you, I got stories for you, Chico. I could go on and on about how this thing is working and doing. And if there's anybody out there that's in doubt, I'm here to tell you, he works.
Yes, indeed.
Stand on it, pray on it, find that thing in the scriptures, meditate on that scripture, give it to him, and let God do, and he will. I'm a living witness. You're
Me.
talking about a single mom,
Yes, indeed.
single mom. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when my parents, my mom passed a couple of years ago, I felt like my world had turned upside down, but I also, again, knew who the man was. We
Right.
ain't been hungry. We ain't skipped a beat, nothing. I'm steady pouring into people, steady going because that's what she would want me to do. And I know that's what God have me to do, you know, and just hold on. Just keep on going. And you guys, our motto is T-GAN. Trust God and never doubt.
Trust
So,
God and never doubt. I like that. Trust.
T-GAN, that's our church motto.
Trust God.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, all right, we're at the end. We're at the top of the hour right now. We're going to have to come back and get you more and more. Maybe after the spring and just during the season, maybe have a round table or something with more parents because I
Let's do
love
it.
the conversation. But let's give some shout outs real quick. Give a shout out to your family, your hometown. You better give a shout out to your church and make sure they don't come and get you.
I'm telling you, hey, look, I got a straight foundation. My sisters, my brothers, Hillary, Brock, Quentin, Tony. It's in Cleveland. Cheryl. Look, my nephew also played professional ball. So Kevin Elliott. So he's been pouring nuggets into him, and
Yeah.
all the way Mississippi, coming on up this way. His godparents, Ebony Cowley, the Starks, Reggie and Shaquita Starks. There's just been so many people pouring into Khalil, some of my other family members, man, I can't name all of them. I told you about 28, 30. So, even with my church, Greater New Liberty, let me back that up. Rollins United Methodist Church, my youth minister, Willie Williams. Oh my, thank God for Willie Williams. Definitely poured into him. He would come and get my baby when he was dying, and even now, buddy, he come and get him. What you doing, man? Come on. And then to get here and have a great foundation with Greater New Liberty, Dr. Darrell K. Shack, where we TGAM, we trust God and we never doubt. And all of that has poured into his coaches, his friends, oh gosh, it's just so many people that I'm just grateful for, and I thank God for them. And what happened to mold Khalil into the man that he is, the leader that he is, and just even pouring into me. I have, those good friends of mine, Serena Jones and Ebony, like I said, his godmom, and Shalonda and Rose, and oh my God, if I get the name of people, they're gonna be upset with me because I'm that person again. I don't meet strangers. So
Mhm.
James Harris, Tracy Ingram, Angela, oh golly, Linda. It's just people that when they 100,
Yeah.
they 100. You want those friends that ain't just. I'm not in the amen corner. If
Hmm.
I'm wrong, Chico, I even want you to tell me I'm wrong.
Hmm.
Because now we done built this bond.
Right.
Don't just amen me because I'm Latanya. Who am I?
Right.
You
Yep.
know.
And you said something about Coach Prime being humble, no matter
Yes.
all the accomplishments he's made. He's that type of person right there too. Listen, dog. I say dog like him sometimes, but but he says it though. Listen, dog. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Say it. Don't be afraid to say it, dog. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm a human. And I
That's
appreciate
right.
about him, and just showing that human part of him also, and giving us a chance to do what we're doing, and allowing us, to use this platform to even conduct these type of interviews right here. So I want to make sure I give a shout out to Coach Prime and the staff, and also all the people who
Yes.
gave super chats in here today too. So let me give a shout out. But I also, last question though, because I was thinking. So you're
Okay.
in Indiana. Khalil's going to Colorado. What are you gonna do now?
So I would love to be in Boulder. However, I still have to think of the other three. And with them, this has still been an adjustment for them, being in Indiana. And maybe by March, May, we'll kind of see what it's looking like, what it's feeling like, and then make that decision. Then I definitely want to be accessible,
Yeah,
for Khalil, and when he wants that big pot of pinto beans, I can put them on for him. So
mhm.
he eats about 8 pounds of beans.
Goodness
Yeah,
gracious.
yeah,
I feel him. I know
yeah,
that's a good meal too from the house. So
yeah.
the Mississippi cooking. Shout out to Mississippi, the whole Mississippi, man.
I'm
From the top,
telling you,
baby. All right. So Khalil came up in here. I thought there was somebody trolling, but that is Khalil. Jalen,
yeah.
who started
My
67.
nephew.
Okay. Nice. Tell us about your nephew, Jalen. Jalen
So
Ben.
Jalen, that's Hillary's my sister. That's her oldest son, and like I say, it's a family of athletes. And my sister played everybody, but even my brother Lee, he played. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he wore 67 in high school. But they just kind of want to keep that tradition going. And Jalen, kind of stood out as well in high school. He went on to play at Mississippi Delta College. So they all wore 67. So that 67 has kind of just stayed in there,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to lose it. And we don't want to lose it either because it's so many. We got cousins now that we didn't even know that was like watching Khalil when Khalil was in high school wearing 67 now.
Yep.
And I mean, even from how Khalil wore his gloves or wore, they're
Yeah.
doing it, so just, but it's awesome. Yeah. Shout
It'll
out to
surprise,
Jalen and
yeah, shout
yeah,
out to Jalen. Shout out to Jalen Benson. It'll surprise you though, as an athlete, seeing your little cousins imitate you, and you'll be like, "Dang, you really been watching me do this?" And you're wearing the number. Dang, So you have to realize that if somebody always watching you for the first time and watch you for the last time when you play, so you always want to show up and do your best and
most definitely.
great representation of yourself and your family. So shout out once again for Khalil coming through with the super chat. Also, Renee Owen said, "Trust God and never doubt."
Oh
Hashtag
yes.
yes, indeed. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Pitt Marine, moms, you and Khalil are energy. We Colorado family have him DT2. Shout out to you, Pitt Marine. Also,
Thank you.
Cindy K for the $20 super chat. Interview is a
Mm,
blessing to my soul. DT2 squad is blessed to have Khalil, Khalil as a brother. Definitely. Appreciate it, Cindy J and P. Holland. Also, consistently me. Okay. We see you're a Y, Khalil. Great job, mama.
thank you.
Thank you again, Khalil, once again. Look, I was
But
like,
he was typing fast on there, wasn't he?
yeah. He said, what do you say? Love y'all.
Love you. Yeah. Now you see my why.
Now you see my why. Exactly.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for coming through and allowing us to get to know you and more on Khalil. Big country.
Big
We
country.
go above. Appreciate that, Pat, for Texas. So once again, we thank you so much, Mr. Tanya, for coming on. We hope to have you on again. You brought the energy tonight. I hope I got all the questions out for everybody who was in here. Mildred, another Mildred Cooley just came through. Hi, Chico, Mr. Tanya. First time chatting, really enjoying this interview. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
um, also, Calvin, thank you once again too, and everybody else out there. I appreciate it. I'm overwhelmed myself. Thank you very much. With
Thank y'all for having us.
yes, thank you so much. We're gonna come back once again. We got I think we have the father of Mr. Chidozie Nwankwo, who's the D tackle from Houston. We have him coming on, so y'all stay tuned for that and get on there and make sure y'all follow, like, subscribe, and leave your comments if you want to on her Twitter page. Let her know how
Please.
she was, and make sure y'all give her a follow out there. Also, Khalil, follow him also. I didn't even share this, did I? Let me make sure I pull this up one time. Y'all make sure y'all follow his page on Instagram if you haven't already. Khalil Benson, Benson Khalil _67 is his page. So thank you once again for joining me. This is Prime Parents Season 2, the first episode. Hey, happy holidays and happy new year out there. Happy new year to you
Oh,
too.
thank you. And the same to you all. Thanks again for having us. And hopefully I answered the questions that
I, I,
but this is who I am, people. This is who I am. Please don't be afraid to talk to me when we hit Boulder. This is me.
we're going up to Boulder where it's colder, baby. And we're gonna be
Yeah.
yes, indeed. DT2, protect your door, protect don't touch two. Ride with Coach Prime, RWCP. We ride with Coach Prime all the way to the promised land, baby. So
We got that merch coming. We got it coming. We want to see everybody in them DT2 t-shirts and sweaters or what have you. Yeah, it's coming.
yes, indeed. DT2. Hey, let me know the link and I'll make sure I share it on here
Most definitely.
as much as I can. All right. So
Thanks for having me.
thank you for joining me. We're gonna get up and about this thing once again. We appreciate you guys and everybody else checked in. This has been another episode of Prime Parents with Big Dog Chico. We up and about this thing. Peace in the middle. Yeah.